Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm down here now. I've been moving all around. It's based on whatever kind of video we're doing. I gotta be out of the way of everything. So I'm down here in the bottom right corner. And today, we're talking about how you should attack the first few days of Diamond Dynasty. Look, I know whether you're a veteran like me, I've been playing for several years now, or somebody who's brand new to the game. There's a lot to take in. And figuring out exactly how you want to attack all of this is kind of tough. So I'm here to guide you through and give you my idea for the opening day game plans of Diamond Dynasty. Now, our goals out front are to accumulate program stars for the first inning here. So we're working our way toward a choice of Roy Oswalt, Todd Helton, or Duke Snider, and to continue to gain XP as quickly as we can. XP is in the upper right corner there. You can see that I'm a level 60 bronze, and that's you're going to work along this path to get all sorts of goodies, and we'll get into them in a moment. But those are our two goals, to gain those as quickly as we can. Now, you may be a team no money person, which is just as it sounds. You've bought the game. You maybe got some pre-order bonuses, but that's it. You're not putting in cash. You're going to work your butt off however you can with the time that you have to make the best team that you can. You may be team some money. Put in a few bucks. I put in an opening night 100. I also got a donation for 20 bucks from my stream. So my team is a $120 team, so to speak, along with pre-order bonuses. Or you may be team stacks, in which case you know what you're doing then. If you're coming in and you're putting in several $100, you're going to get a lot of packs, try to complete all the collections, and get to that Mickey Mantle as quickly as you can. You probably don't need this video if that's the case, and I fully understand that. This is for everybody but them, which, by the way, nothing against you folks, the whales. You guys are awesome. You guys are why we have Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and the countless legends that we continue to get every year. So big thanks to y'all. Spend your money how you wish. I have absolutely no qualms about that. Those of us who are maybe looking to be a little bit more on the team no money range, though, you got to figure out what to do because it's a lot to take in, and it can be a little bit overwhelming of like, where do I even start? So I've got you. First things first, you come in, and for me, what I would do after you do the thing where you kind of open your pack and go through the tutorial to get your base level team, maybe open some pre-order bonuses, then as far as getting into gameplay, I think you should come into Showdown day one, first thing, do the starter Showdown. If you're new to Diamond Dynasty, Showdown is a mode where you draft a team. You start with a draft of a team, and you improve that team by doing these missions, and each red one of these is a boss battle where you're going to face a pitcher and have to get X number of runs in X number of outs. You're working till the final boss where you have to defeat him in a higher number of runs, but also a higher number of outs, and then you get the prizes. But as you can see, you get prizes all along the way. XP, stubs, packs, and then eventually, in this one, you get gold Brett Saberhagen. Now here's the thing: if you lose one of these blue missions, you're fine. You don't get the stuff there, but you don't lose out. If you lose a red one, you have to start over. So the red ones are especially important. So the reason I like to do this, and I think you should do this right away, is because you're getting stubs and XP, and you're working your way to a really nice starting pitcher. Brett Saberhagen Gold is somebody that really nice to put in your day one lineup. Saberhagen cards have been really strong in the past. I've heard good things about this one. I have not debuted mine yet, but I will definitely be using him because I do like Brett Saberhagen cards. So even though I've got some cards that are a little bit above his rating at this point, I'm still going to give him a shot because he's got great control, strong stamina. The per-9s are a little bit wobbly, but if you're pitching well with him, I think you can get regular 5-inning outings out of him. Next up, I would stay with Showdown and do the first inning one. Now, same idea. You're going to be going through. You're getting stubs and XP and packs along the way, and you're working your way toward a final boss where you're going to get another gold player, 1,000 stubs, and 2,500 XP. Same principles apply. If you lose a blue one, that's okay. You don't get the stubs and XP, but you don't have to start over. If you lose a red one, you do have to start over, and you would have to pay 500 more stubs. However, as long as you get to here and you even if you lose the first red battle, you got 100, 100. So you get 300 stubs. So let's say that you won these first 3 blue ones and lost the red one a couple times. You'd be paying essentially 200 per entry because you're kind of getting your most of your entry back. Now, if you beat the red one here, you get 500. So you're already plus 300 at that point, and it's kind of paying for maybe some missed opportunities down the line because Showdown's pretty challenging. It's not super hard. I'm not trying to scare anybody off. But one of the things that I've noticed is that because it's a computer grind, we downshift our brains a little bit into thinking, this is going to be easy. It's the computer. I can handle it. If you do that and you kind of are lackadaisical about it, they're going to get you. And this ranges from, solid average to above average players, which I would kind of put myself in that category. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm not a superstar, but I'm not terrible. But it ranges from players like that all the way up to studs. They're getting knocked and saying, oh, I really should have taken this seriously because I was kind of half-assing it. And so if you're average or below, you have to pay attention as well. Like every skill level has to really pay attention to this and dial in. But once you dial in, it's beatable. But it does present a little challenge, which I like. I don't like a computer grind that is that mind-numbing on rookie, and you got Netflix over here, you got your phone open on Twitter, you're watching a stream on your iPad. I don't know why you'd be watching Netflix and a stream at the same time, but you do you. Because it's so mindless that you don't even care. You're basically cycling through X. I don't like grinds like that. So the fact that this has some challenge to it is fun. But anyway, back to why I want you to do this off rip. You get 70 stars for the first inning program. In addition to all these stubs, look at this. 1,000, 150, 150, 200, 500, 300, 250, 250, 500, 100, 100, 100. And all the XP to go with it. So this is very valuable, and it's only 500 stubs to join. So then you've got 70 stars for here, and you're going to start chiseling up into this path here. I don't know each gate because once it's redeemed, it doesn't say how many stars it took to get there, but you're going to start working your way toward these different packs. You get a headliner pack here, another pack there, a gold choice of Brian Roberts, Tom Seaver, and Adam Dunn here. I think this is at 150. So this won't take you a little bit, but you get 70 just for doing that first inning program. Next, I think you should do the Curtis Granderson program. Now, is that because Curtis Granderson is my favorite player ever? No, that does not influence it. I am here to help y'all. It has nothing to do with that. Truthfully, it doesn't. I will cape for Curtis Granderson cards. They're awesome, and he is my favorite player ever based on when he was with the Tigers. So I had to go get him immediately. Maybe you watch my debut with him. I talked a bit about just why I like him so much and why he's such a badass player. But I would do that immediately. Couple reasons. One, you're getting a diamond outfielder who's very good. I don't know if you noticed that, by the way, real quick. He's a lefty hitter who's better against lefties. So even when people come lefty against you, you're going to be ready with a 7,100 rating. So he always rakes. But also because after you do it, so you can either go through the moments here and do those here with Curtis. Complete all these. By the way, stubs and XP. But then you also have to remember, after you do those moments, that's not all you have to do to get Curtis. So you should probably just go through here to do it, to keep track of it, because you can do all the moments from here as well. But then you also have to beat the Yankees on All-Star in a 9-inning game, because you have to get, see how it says 50 of 50 there under stage 1? You get 42 points for beating these. 7 times 6, and then you get, then you get the other 8 points here. So that will take care of you as far as that goes. And, sorry, we're moving along. Don't forget, it has to be 9 innings. So the way to do that, pardon me, just want to make sure I had my ducks in a row there as far as the stars, or the points. You go to play versus CPU. Make sure you change it. R1 twice. Make sure you change it to All-Star. It hasn't happened to anyone yet that I know of. I've had people with missions like this in past years play a game, accidentally play it on rookie, and they beat the team in question. Like, it didn't count. And then they go, oh, I didn't change the difficulty. So you go in here, you pick home, and then little tip. If you want to pick your ace, that's fine, but you're going to face Garrett Cole. So you might want to pick one of your lower tier starters and get J-Hap, Masahiro Tanaka. They're the 4-5. J-Hap, Masahiro Tanaka, Luis Severino. Luis Severino would... Oh, no, James Paxton, and then Garrett Cole. I think that's the order. So depending on who you want to face there, make sure you pick your starter to correspond with them. So you do that, you get Curtis Granderson. Why is that so good? Besides getting Granderson, stubs, XP, stars, baby. Go into collections, first inning, and you can't sell him anyway. So you would you can only use him because he's unsellable. So you might as well lock him into this collection and get another free 20 stars. It makes no sense not to. It's a slam dunk. Get another 100 XP. That's a little something there. But you get 20 more stars. So now you've got 90 stars, and you're just getting going. You've done 2 showdowns and gotten the Curtis Granderson card. So you've gotten a Brett Saberhagen, Curtis Granderson. Who knows if you've pulled anything dope in your packs? Maybe you spiked something big. But even if you haven't, you're getting XP. You're going on the first inning path. And speaking of the XP path, let's go over here. By the time you've done those 3 things, you're really going to start getting into these here. Now, again, I don't know exactly what number they are because once they're redeemed, it's gone. But let me just go through these packs real quick, give you some ideas on who I would take as you get to these packs. You get this one very quickly. You're going to get 2 of these silvers and 1 bronze. Now, for me, my top choice, bar none, I highly recommend him, Vita Blue. It's a 41 stamina, which is very high for a reliever. Most relievers are in the low to mid 20s. So he's got double the stamina of most relievers. 41 lefty reliever who has really strong numbers. He's got fastball, curveball, changeups. He's got 3 pitches. Got something with heat, major heat, 98 miles an hour. Something that breaks, and a changeup. Doesn't have anything that moves side to side, but that's okay. You know, beggars can't be choosy here. I guess you're not begging for them, but you know, maybe you like sliders more. I understand. Still worth it. This card is awesome, and I highly recommend it. It's a great lefty to put into your bullpen very early. From there, on your second silver, it's kind of open to choice. I do recommend this Craig Biggio. He's catcher because this is from his rookie year. And you can see he's a 90 speed behind the dish, which is really cool. His blocking is pretty solid at 75, so is his arm. The rest of his defense is decent. I'm not going to overstate it and pretend it's great, but I don't think he's going to be missing every curveball that Vita Blue throws or anything like that. He's going to get the job done pretty well. He'll have an occasional missed play behind the dish as far as a spiked breaking ball, but I don't think he's going to miss easy stuff. And with the 75 arm, you should be able to throw out runners at a decent clip as well. And while his numbers, ratings-wise for hitting, aren't off the charts, that 85 vision is going to give you a big PCI, which is the plate coverage indicator, if you use zone hitting. So he's going to get a lot of base hits. Probably not a lot of doubles, triples, and homers because there's not a lot of power there, but enough base hits to make him a solid part of your ball club. You can also take Eddie Murray. Every Eddie Murray card that's ever been in this game has absolutely raked. And yes, he kills righties. The numbers against lefties aren't that good, but I wouldn't even be surprised if he played above those numbers. That's just the way Eddie Murray cards have been. Rob Nen, if you wanted to go righty-lefty combo there between he and Vita Blue, really get your bullpen off to a good start. Eric Davis, I really like Eric Davis cards. He was new to the game last year. You can see he's got that amazing speed, strong defense with the big arm, and then great power against both sides. He's a little contact challenged against lefties, but I will say, early on when you're playing games in ranked seasons and events, it's on veteran or all-star. Veteran if you're playing very early in ranked seasons, and then the event is on all-star. So the fact that he has a 27 contact against lefties and a 46 vision, it's not going to hurt that much early on. Now, by the time you start to advance and maybe get into the high 700s and low 800s of ranked seasons, maybe you stop using Eric Davis as a full-time player. Maybe he becomes a bench bat or your bench pinch runner of something like that. Joe Morgan cards have never been very good for me, so I'm not really interested in him. Maybe you're a Joe Morgan beast and you want to go for him. Babe Ruth, the pitcher, is pretty cool because it's a solid little starter with 4 pitches. 2-seamers are good this year, so I would count all 4 of those pitches. And he can hit, especially against righties. So that's always kind of cool. You don't have to worry about pinch hitting, right off the top there. If you're in the 5th inning, it's a close game, you're facing a righty, and up comes your pitcher spot. Well, he can get the job done. And then this Dave Kingman is insane. And I may have given him a little bit of short shrift when I made my picks because this would be a great corner outfielder. I probably wouldn't want to put him at third, even though the arm is great. The rest of the defense is a bit challenged. You could throw him in right, but again, with the fielding and the reaction being weak, left, I think, is the right spot for him. Use that big arm, use that amazing defense, and then as your team gets better, you can transition him to a bench bat where he comes off and can get homers off the bench for you. And then Christy Mathewson, not really for me. Those per nines are just too low. I like the BB9 that he has in the control. You should be able to dot a good bit, but those per nines are tough. In fact, I used him in a BR game. Only 1 inning, so I don't want to go too far, but as you can see, he got knocked around. And then John Franco. You might want to go double lefty off rip and go Blue and Franco, and then you've got your 2 lefties. Most bullpens are 5 and 2, 5 righties, 2 lefties. I like to do 4 and 3 personally, but 5 and 2 absolutely works. And maybe you just say, you know what? I don't want to have to worry about any other lefties. I'm going to go Vita Blue John Franco. Boom, I'm set. Another guy who has better stamina than average at 31. Good per nines. He's got a screwball, which is pretty cool. Sinker, slider, four seam, and his sinker's only at 88, but his four seam dials up to 92, so you get a little extra velo there from the left side. So those are the silvers, and then as far as the bronze goes, you're not making this guy a key part of your team for very long. So even if you have to start one of these guys, I would recommend one of these last 3. Again, you can go Babe Ruth. Now, of course, if you go the Babe Ruth pitcher, don't also pick the hitter because you can't use both of them. But this would be a solid card to put in left field. Decent hitter. Of course, if you didn't get that Dave Kingman, this could be like a reasonable facsimile of that Dave Kingman, although the defense isn't quite as good. Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox cards have also always raked. Well, I say always. He just came in the game last year, but all of his cards were great. I would not be surprised if this card played above his numbers. And what I mean by that basically is that you show more success than this bronze hitting would normally suggest because his swing is really good and just plays well with your game. And I've seen that from the Jimmy Fox cards. Would not surprise me one bit if this was just like that too. The only tough part is you really want to get a stud at first base, and if you put him at third, that defense is really crummy, so he's probably a bench bat even early in the game with somebody who's doing team no money. And then, of course, Ted Williams, Tedrick the Entertainer, 96 vision, 112 discipline. That's going to help offset some of those weaker numbers in the contact and power. And again, Ted Williams cards generally play above their level, so this bronze card has often been great. The Bob Feller, I probably wouldn't take it because it's a difficult card to control usually, and the per nines are a bit weak. So it's a pass for me, but maybe you like this card. It's a cool looking card, that's for sure, and it is Bob Feller. He does throw super hard at 95. So that's a borderline. If you want to make him your 4th, 5th starter, I understand. The Willie Mays, all I've ever known of Willie Mays from the Mets was that it was a disaster. That's all. Whenever I heard stories from my dad, before the internet. Yes, I lived in a time before the internet. My dad would tell me, Willie Mays was great, this, that, and then he went to the Mets, and it wasn't so good. This card looks decent. It's kind of like the others. I like what they did here, though. A bronze card of all these super, super duper stars, kind of at their, not at their very best. And it's cool. So you can kind of get that big name and work toward getting the elite version of them down the line. Then you get your Evo card. So you're going to evolve one of these guys into a stud version of themselves. So you can pick whomever you want here. How I would rank them based on both my experience and the community experience. I picked Pudge, so I can speak to that. He's been great. I love the Diamond Pudge. I highly recommend him, especially if you want that big catching behind the dish. But maybe while you're doing all the stuff that I mentioned earlier, maybe you get a pack where you get live series Gary Sanchez or Yasmani Grandal, and you're like, you know what? I'm kind of set at catcher for right now. Then maybe you don't want Pudge. Next up would be Cargo. The Cargo card, everyone is raving about it. And I can't say I'm surprised because Cargo cards have always been great. Now, I'm not sure that this one's going to be all that good, but you don't need to use this one for very long because you're evolving this one into a stud version. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Eddie Matthews, he's not been highly used, but those who are using him have said positive things. Dennis Eckersley has been the split decision. Some good, some bad. And outliers, strong outliers on each side. Some say, oh, I love him. He kills it at my bullpen. Some say, I hate that I got him. He's the worst card ever. So it kind of really depends on you. It's maybe a risk you're taking. But look at this starter. This starter actually isn't too bad. So if you took a little while to evolve him, you could use this starter in the meantime. And he looks pretty good. Look at those per nines there. The BB9 in control is a little bit rough, so hopefully you can pinpoint pretty well with your meter or analog, depending on how you pitch, because the per nines are nice, and he throws 95. So you pick your card here, and then you start to do their evolution. Where do you do that? You go into programs, player programs, where we were for Curtis, and you see the 4 down here. Now I picked Pudge, and you have to do these moments to even get to stage 2. I believe stage 2 is locked until you finish stage 1. So you go through all these moments and do them. Some of them, you know, it's similar to Showdown. If you do it lackadaisically and you don't pay attention, you're going to get stumped on a bunch of them and be like, I really should have paid attention to that. I could have beaten that. But if you dial in and you focus, you can beat them in relatively short fashion. So you get these, you get 30 points there. And by the way, you have to get, I think you have to get 50 total to get them. So then you got to come over to stage 2 and get 20 more points. Now what I did was these other 3 missions and then exchanged catchers. One thing I will tell you is that some of the online tallying has not been working properly. They are working toward a fix. As you can see, I got my online hits with catchers. I think this was after the fact, though. They might actually all be his hits. Yeah, these are all his hits. So I didn't get those to get him. These have come afterwards. So I just did the catcher exchange, and what that is you'll press X on that. I can't do it right now because I've already done it. And you just exchange catcher cards. And if you don't have a whole lot, you can go buy some off the market. Buy some of the cheaper ones. And you don't have to do this all at once. You can kind of take your time with it. In the meantime, you're still using the silver cargo, or excuse me, the silver Pudge, who's pretty good. It's similar to what I said about the Craig Biggio, where the vision is helping you do pretty well with him, even though the power numbers aren't that good. So you should be getting a lot of base hits. Plus, unlike the Biggio, the Pudge's defense is amazing. So if you have to use this card for a little while you're working on the evolution, especially if your team no money and you don't have those extra catchers to kind of trade in, then don't worry about it. You'll be fine. But that's how you would do it with that one. And with the cargo, now I can't speak to this, to how hard it is because I didn't do it. But again, you have to do 30 moments, or 30 points worth of moments, and then you go into the missions and you exchange outfielders, and then do the 3 more moments. And it looks like our daily appearance of a little certain somebody is about to happen because she's crawling up my leg. And look who's here. Can I help you? Do you just always like to interrupt the video? The people want to see me. That's true. They do. Anyway, you can sit in my lap now. Sorry. So again, same sort of deal as the Pudge, and you're working your way toward this beast of a cargo. Absolutely insane. And I have used this card in the past. I haven't used him this year, but he's always raked. So the fact that people are loving him this year surprises me 0%. So that's the evolution. Let me continue a little bit more on the XP path. Again, I don't know exactly where you will be at this point after you do the starter, first inning, and Curtis, but you should probably be around here at least. And by the way, one thing I didn't mention real quick. Again, just by playing stubs, 500, 250, 1,000, 250, 1,000, and a pack, and 2 packs right there. So you're always getting stubs and building your bankroll to get in the market and buy some players that you want. You can do team no money. It takes time. You're trading the time for money. For those of you that don't have the money or don't want to put in the money, you do have to put in more time, but that's okay. It can be done. And it's not like you have to do 12-hour sessions every day, because it all doesn't have to be done at once. You can take your time with it. So next thing, continuing on the XP path, you'll get a gear up pack. I think that's some equipment. And if you don't do Road to the Show, then just sell whatever is the most expensive one. Then you get another pack. Then you get these too. You get Flashback and Legend of a pitcher, and then shortly thereafter you get the batter. And I'll go over these real quick, and then I'll go over the classics, and then we'll get back into the other things that you should do and wrap this sucker up. So here you get a Flashback or Legend pitcher. And for me, I don't have one of these right now because on the night that I got it, Nolan Ryan was the most expensive by a decent amount. I think he was about 1,000 stubs more than anybody else. So I don't know the exact number, but let's say he was like 5,000 and all the others were around 3,500 to 4,000. So I said, I'll just take him, sell him, and bank those stubs, and I can buy somebody else that I want. I was going to take Price because I've always loved this David Price card, but I just thought that when somebody else is that much more expensive, take the guy who's more expensive, sell him, and go buy the card you want. Now, the reason that I haven't is because I like the lefties that I have. I have the Mike Minor that you may remember from the collections video that I talked about with the Kansas City collection. I have Taylor Rogers, and I have somebody who I'm definitely blanking on, who I'm going to say duh when I see who it is. And it is Vita. Hello. Duh. The guy I just got done recommending to all of y'all. So, I just learned recently that Taylor Rogers is nasty. I was awful with him last year. His stuff is gross. So you can go buy him in the market, but that's down the line. You can buy cards at any moment that you want. If you have the stubs, go buy guys that you want to plug in to kind of improve your team. But anyway, so for me, if there's somebody that's, again, a good bit more, let's say 700 to 1,000 more stubs, more expensive than everybody else, pick that person, sell them, and go buy whoever you really want, because it just makes sense that way, because then you pocket the extra, even if it's an extra 600, 700 stubs. It's worth it. But as far as the suggestions that I would go for here, I would either go for the David Price if you don't have another lefty to go with Vita Blue. Maybe you didn't take John Franco to go with them. Maybe you haven't packed any lefties that you like and you need a second lefty. This David Price card is awesome. That's my number one choice. My number two choice, Oral Hershiser. This card diced me up the other night. Absolutely crushed me. Oral Hershiser cards have been good in this game since he was implemented. You cannot go wrong with this card. In fact, I still need to go put my buy order in. I've been meaning to do that ever since he ripped through me because he's awesome. Lee Smith in the same night. Different team, but same night. Also cut me up. 95-97 with the hit and K9. That's insane. Four-seam slider, cut, fork. So he's got everything you could want there. The only thing he really doesn't have is kind of the over-the-top curve, but you don't really need that. You got stuff moving side to side. And the slider cutter, the fact that they have 5+ mile per hour differences, that can really mess with people because they see that it's going to go horizontally, but then they're going to have the speed differential that's going to mess them up. Plus 98 is his average, which means he can run it up to 100 when everything's cooking. Plus the 46. A 46 mile per hour forkball would be pretty disgusting. An 86 mile per hour forkball, 12 miles different than your fastball. So if you're kind of tunneling that and then it's diving off the table, they're going to be flailing through it like I was. So you can't go wrong with that. The only one I would say that I recommend against, I'm usually all about choice, pick who you like, but if you haven't used these cards and you don't have experience, don't take Nolan. Now, I took Nolan to sell him, so that's different. If he's the most expensive still, take him to sell him. I stink with this card. I love the 63 stamina. I love the hit and K9. They're so good. I want to be good with this card. 2 years ago, I was. Last year, couldn't have been worse. Awful. I seriously had like a 7 ERA. Most people that you play will just sit there and put their controller on top of their dog and just let you throw ball after ball after ball, because he is so difficult to command. And then they'll get themselves in a 3-1 count to when they know you have to throw 98 down the pipe and boom, GG. So I would not take him. Fergie I faced the other night too. He wasn't quite as good as Oral Hershiser, but he was solid. I've not faced this Guidry, but if you want a lefty in the rotation, he's pretty solid. He's a junk baller, kitchen sink kind of guy. He only gets it up to 90, but he does have solid break and good control. Goose Gossage cards, you can never really go wrong. This is a little bit of a muted version of him. He's not quite at his peak where he's throwing 100 miles an hour, but he is still throwing 93 on average, which means he can run it up to 95. Slurves are disgusting, so are sinkers, so you can definitely make this card work. And Cliff Lee, I have not used this one, but I kind of like this kind of looks like the Guidry, right? Where he's a junk baller, kitchen sink kind of guy. And if you like Cliff Lee, maybe you were a fan of his when he pitched, you could definitely take him and work with him. A lot of people are going to be out front on stuff. You'll probably run into some folks who will get him, and you'll know early that, okay, he's on top of this slow stuff, this kitchen sink stuff doesn't work with this guy, and then you take him out. But a lot of people will still be off their game against the Cliff Lee card. So you can go wherever you want there, but my top 2 recommendations are Price and Oral Hershiser. Then, shortly thereafter, again, I don't know exactly what level it is, but it doesn't take long to get into this pack here, the Flashback Legends Batters. So, I went with Miggy. I'm a Tigers fan. I know it's not a Tigers card, but it is still Miggy. Homer pick a little bit, sure, but look at that hitting. How could I not? I have the luxury that my team is good enough right now that he's actually a bench bat for me, but you could easily put him into any of those 3 positions, and he can hang for you. Little in right field with that 60 reaction, you're going to have a few flubs, but everything else is going to be worth it. The arm's decent, and the batting's off the charts. So if he's hitting 400 for you, he's 1 for 1 for me so far. But if he's raking for you, you'll take a couple defensive flubs to kind of trade that off. My second pick was going to be Mookie. This card looks really fun. High contact, high vision, base hits for days, speed, defense. Put him at second or the outfield. I really like the way that Mookie looks. I'm going to eventually get him and play some games with him for sure. Chipper Jones cards, another thing. You can never, ever go wrong with it. You're sitting on my shirt here. You're pulling my shirt. And this cord. Like, do you really have to be here right now? She's like, yes, I absolutely, unquestionably have to be here right now. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, Chipper Jones cards, awesome. You can already see excellent against righties. But again, as I've been saying about some other cards, I bet you that the verse lefty, I bet he plays up. Chipper Jones cards are awesome. You can never go wrong picking a Chipper Jones card. So he would be my third choice. Then from there, it's kind of a tie. Like if you don't have a catcher yet, maybe you didn't do the pudge. You need somebody who's really solid across the board. Look at how strong that is. Everything there is good. The only thing he doesn't really have is speed, which you're not expecting from catcher. The fact that Biggio and Pudge have some speed is a bonus, but you never expect that from catcher. Plus, if you get another catcher that you like more, but you still rake with Gary, put him in one of the other 4 positions that he has. Lou Gehrig, can't go wrong. Slaps, bad defense, but you're putting him at first. Stan Musial. This is another one where I could see it playing better than the numbers because that vision is so high that you're going to be able to get bat to ball really regularly, very easily. And so I could see him exceeding these ratings, even though they don't look that good, especially against, they're terrible against lefties. So use him, see what it's like if you do get him, but he's lower on my choice poll there. Rod Carew. Rod Carew was a revelation for me last year. In fact, by the way, I want to say, if we're going back in order, it's Miggy, Betts, Chipper, Carter, Carew, Gehrig, Musial, Smith. That's my preferential order. But Carew cards, I didn't know. And then I used, I think this version last year and his Signature Series. Now, Signature Series is a premium diamond, so you expect good things, but it was amazing. He hit 455 for me in a decent number of plate appearances. So Rod Carew cards, very nice there. Can definitely go with him. So it's really kind of your choice. Where's your team at this point? Who do you like? You can't really go wrong here. I don't love Ozzy cards, but if you want that premium defense at shortstop with some speed, who can maybe get some singles for you at the bottom of the lineup, can't go. Prioritizing defense is never a bad move. Plus, he's a switch hitter. Then the next thing, I know you get this at level 40. So this is probably like 35, 30, and 25, maybe. But I know that this is level 40. And this is the Classics pack. And oh my goodness, this is awesome. If you're new to Diamond Dynasty, these are old cards from 2017 and 18 that the community loved that they brought back, which was such a cool idea. And I have 2 cards here that I'm recommending. You can only pick one, but it's between one and the other for me. It was between Charlie Morton and Alberto Mondesi. This Mondesi card was so good. Despite the numbers, they didn't stand out. Now, this card came out in September. So by then, everyone's team is stacked to the gills. So you're like, well, you got to be like a 95 overall or better to even crack my squad at that point. Tried this card out kind of on a whim because Mondesi was having such a good finish to the season. I was like, well, let me see if this, let me just use him for fun. And he was amazing. And it started to spread like wildfire. Like, have you used this Mondesi? Oh my God, he's so good. He's so good. He's so good. His swing is just glitchy. It's just something that people say in the community when they're talking about somebody who has a swing that really pops off and they play above their numbers. This card's awesome. Now, I didn't take him because I love this Charlie Morton. And in 2017, they still had online franchise. So because this was a postseason card, I didn't play as much Diamond Dynasty in the winter as I normally would have. So I didn't get to use this card as much. I probably got like 8 to 10 innings. Not a huge sample, but I loved using him when I did. So I took him first. I want to get in those reps with him. 74 stamina as a reliever. Are you kidding me? Per nines across the board. Excellent. 5-pitch arsenal. 4-seamer that's at 98. Cutter, splitter, knuckle curve. He's got stuff going side to side, up and down. A little bit of off speed there with the split piece. Absolutely nuts. 3 1/3 shutout innings so far with him. I love it. When this card comes up again, so you will have an opportunity to get more down the line. It's going to take a while, but you'll get a second pick here at silver 25, and I'm at level 60 bronze, and I've been playing a lot. So I haven't done a ton of collections, which is a good way to get XP. But when you get another one, you can kind of pick whoever you didn't take there. So those are my two favorites. You can't go wrong with Gary Sanchez cards. They always crush. Hang on. But the defense is going to be mediocre at best. Oh, this defense on this one is actually pretty decent. I will say that. So if you want to get Gary Sanchez, I would never question that because he's awesome. I was not good with the Victor Robles, so I would pass. And then the Alex Reyes, I never got to use him because he was part of this Future Stars program that I did not complete back in 2017. But he looks nasty. So that's XP path. And like I said, by the time you've done Starter Showdown, First Inning Showdown, Curtis Granderson, you're really going to start getting into this. You probably won't be at level 40 just yet, but you'll be working your way toward that. So, back to the game of what you should be doing after Curtis Granderson, you should consider getting into Conquest. And you can start with this Tim Tebow one. It's super easy. It's so small. You just have to do a few things here. You can find out all the goals here that you have to do. If you need some tips with Conquest, my boy Cougs46, just type in Cougs46 Conquest into the YouTube search. His tutorial video should come up. He'll get you situated there. I'm not a huge Conquest guy, so I don't have all the tips and tricks. We'll rely on others to do that. But you get this Tebow. He's actually pretty decent. I've heard that he's got some really nice punch and can actually do pretty well. Throw him in your outfield, boom. There you go. And it's easy to get. But then if you want to attack the big boy map, but this is going to get you packs, XP, stubs, galore. It's going to take a while. It's huge. It's difficult as far as the time and getting everything right, but it's going to give you so much. So this right here just shows you 16 packs that you're going to get. These 6 right there, and then a 10 bundle at the end. But that doesn't even include the hidden packs. Some of these cells here, you're just like, you take over like this cell right here. I don't know which ones they are, but like you just take over this cell and it gives you a pack randomly. Or it gives you a hidden 500 XP. If you complete this map, your bankroll, your XP, going to be loaded. Plus you're going to get, probably, if you do it all, I think people are saying they got about 25 total packs. You should pull something in those. Even if it's a handful of golds. Maybe you don't get a diamond. Maybe you don't get lucky and get that diamond. You should be getting a bunch of golds, maybe a bunch of silvers that you can sell and go buy the golds that you want. It will enrich your team. Plus, you get this Cy Young, which is, it's kind of like that Christy Mathewson. I'd be careful. I think I got killed with him. Yeah, I got absolutely crushed. So I don't want to rave about that one, but you get this card. Holy smokes. He's so good. This card is incredible. He's back from 2 years ago, and he's amazing. You can put him at your first base slot and keep him there for a good while. Even as you level up and start to get diamonds all over your team, this card will hit for you big time. The defense is bad, but he's at first base, so it's not like he's going to drop the ball when the infielders throw it to him all the time. Really where that's going to hurt you is like those sharp liners down the first base line. He's going to olay them and kind of miss them with more regularity than most. And then if you complete the whole thing, you get the Willie Mays. Now, what you could do is platoon Willie Mays. Now, you don't really want to platoon a diamond, so try him out against righties, see if maybe he plays above his numbers. I've never used this card. I know that the top Willie Mays card was amazing last year, but you got great defense, speed, kills lefties, tough against righties. But if your team starts to really get to a position where you could platoon a diamond, what was it? The somebody in the XP path, I think, that would make for a good platoon, wasn't it? Garrig, maybe? Yeah, so Garrig crushes righties. Now, it wouldn't be a direct platoon because Mays is outfield, Garrigg's first base. So maybe Musial's a better thing to say there because they're both outfield. So you could get the 96-48 against righties and then bring in Mays if you're facing a lefty, something like that. But the USA map is going to get you so much goodness, and your XP path, your stubs bank account is going to be off the charts. Then, the final thing that I would recommend before you, and by the way, at any point in this time when you feel comfortable, you can start getting into events against other people and ranked seasons. This is just for your offline grind to build up your bankroll and build up your team. So the last thing I would recommend is to go back into Showdown and start playing the divisional showdowns. Now, how do you decide which one you want? These work toward team affinity programs. And the team affinity programs are over here. Every team has one. And as you build up, as you do different things, you do missions, you can collect their team, you can do this one moment, and you can do March to October, which is a whole nother thing. And you know that I'm doing March to October for the Tigers. So I'm going to get affinity points that way. As you're doing all of that, you're advancing here, and you get a prospect at the gold 25, and then you're working your way toward the 50 face of the franchise. So what you need to do is go through and figure out which faces of the franchise you want, and you can start to do their divisional showdowns to get the tickets to build up your affinity. If you beat the showdown of the division, say I wanted that Matthew Boyd, which I do, but he's not high on my priority list just yet. I'm actually working on the AL East right now, okay? So I'm working on that, and if I beat that, I get 5 4-point tickets. And what I'm going to do when I get those is come over here to Tampa Bay for this Blake Snell beast, monster, and put those into this part right here. And I'm going to put all 5 of them in, and I'm going to get 20 points. And as you can see, I'll be right here. So I won't be there yet at Blake, but then I beat it again, and you can get 20 more. It's repeatable, so you can keep doing it. And Showdown is fun as hell. Plain and simple. It's super fun. So I'm going to do that. You can do it twice, and then exchange Raise Rivals or collect the team, depending on where your bankroll is at and everything. Like, there's some decent players here. It's not a cheap collection. I covered it in my collection. It's one of the higher, it's like one of the mid cheap ones. It's not super expensive to get this, especially as you kind of build up your bankroll, because he's only 16,000. But it's also not like, hey, first day cheap is what I mean by that. So I have 65,000. I can get this Charlie Morton. I want Charlie Morton anyway, and I can buy the rest of those cards. So I'll probably beat the affinity twice, or the showdown twice, and then do the team collection, and then I'll have my Blake Snell and Xavier Edwards, by the way, who I'm hearing very good things about. So you need to go through and look at the team affinities that you want based on the prospects at 25 and the faces of the franchise at 50 that you're interested in. If you need some help there, I've got a future video coming out where I'm going to rank all the faces of the franchise in my order. And it's just my opinion on how I feel that they'll play. You may feel differently and want to mix it up a little bit, but for those who are looking for some guidance, I'm going to have that for you. So, a little bit of a long video, I understand, but that's tackling your first, couple weeks into Diamond Dynasty there. And like I said, at any point when you feel comfortable with your team and your skill, you can start jumping in on seasons and go 9 innings against people. You can start going in here, playing 3-inning games and trying to accumulate these wins that you're building up to try to get this Felix Hernandez at 40. And then this Brooks Robinson at 70. And by the way, all along the way, packs, XP, stubs, gold player, 5 more packs. Ballin' is a habit pack, which guarantees you at least 1 gold. A classic stadium, which I believe you can sell. And some of these are worth a decent bit. Or you can just keep it and play in that pack, or play in that park. And then if you get all the way up to 100, you get 20 packs and a prospect pack, which means you can get one of these cards. Now, doesn't mean you get to pick from this no matter what. You'll get the pack, and you'll either get the rare round, which is one of these two. You'll get the medium round, which is one of these three. No, it's one of these two, Bart and Whitley. Or you'll get the rare round, or the common round, which is Waters, Keller, or Bone. That's if you get 90 wins. That's a lot of, By the way, not only do you get stubs when you hit one of these thresholds, but every game you play, you're getting stubs and XP too. You're always getting stuff. So playing and playing and playing, you're building up, getting in the XP path, building up your stubs bank account. Before you know it, you look up and you're like, I have 50,000 stubs, and all I've been doing is playing and, doing different things on the showdown, on, programs, and your bankroll's built up, and now you can go in and buy Matt Chapman if you want. He doesn't even cost 50. I was just bringing up a random guy that I really like. So hopefully that helps. That should get you started, keep you busy for a good while, and really get you situated with Diamond Dynasty. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. I've been having so much fun doing YouTube videos, so I want to thank all of you who have been leaving really nice comments in the comment section, over on Twitter, talking about it in my Twitch stream, putting the likes on there, and of course subscribing to the channel. I greatly, greatly appreciate that, and good luck. Yesterday was the official opening day. I've had the game for a while because I got pre-order, but yesterday was truly the official opening day, so we're just getting going. And I know with all the weirdness that's going around in the world right now, it's a little bit unsettling, but we do have something that we can kind of get our minds off of it, play MLB The Show, take care of our business and everything with our work and health, but then once all that's settled, settle down, play some baseball, and really enjoy it. Thank you guys again. Take care.